Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to the 8th Autumn 2021 update from GavsWeatherVids. So here we go again, it's time to bring you another autumn update. And we're up to update number 8 now, can you believe that? So I shall get on with the 8th autumn update for you very soon. It's going to be another follow-on from last week when we looked at the CT for July. This week we're going to be looking at England and Wales precipitation. So I'll get on that for you in a second. Just say that the first video released today was our 7 AM forecast. We've also got GavsWeatherVids sunny roundup coming up for you just after lunch. There could be many more sunny roundups now before we start them in favour of the winter updates at the beginning of September. But we have got another Sunday roundup for you later on, and they'll be live streaming from 6 o'clock. So it's a Sunday live stream. Got to do some long range, and yeah, we'll have a look at some longer range data in our live stream from 6. So I shall see you then. Right, so thank you so much to Rich for the incredible autumn updates gift. Thank you so much, Rich, for the gift. Absolutely fantastic. Love the autumn updates gift. Such vibrancy in the colours and so tranquil. So thank you so much, Rich, for the gift. And also, thank you so much to my good friend Shryan Brewing for helping get this update together, getting all of the years together for me. So thank you so much to Rich, thank you so much to Shryan for all of the help on the updates. It's absolutely incredible, it's absolutely amazing. So thank you to both Shryan and also to Richard Shaw for the help on the video, on the update. Just say that the autumn forecast is going to be released not all that long now. Going to be released on the 29th of August, so I think what's that, a couple of weeks from now, not long at all. So we are very much now at the business end of the autumn updates, and yeah, the clock is running down before we have to release our autumn forecast. We have still got another couple of updates to go after this one. Please like, share, subscribe on all the videos. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. Right, and just say that, of course, it's going to be quite a long video, so it is part of the playlist for autumn updates. You can get to that on the YouTube homepage. Right, so I'll turn the webcam off at that point. We're going to have a look at the England and Wales precipitation index here. So here we go. We're just going to zoom in. We're going to zoom. And zoom in. Right, okay, so this is the England and Wales precipitation index from the UK Met Office. This is showing England and Wales precipitation by month periods all the way back to 1766. There it is, our first year just there. So let's scroll down to the very latest year, and we come down to 2021. There it is, and we see that in 2021, July's England and Wales precipitation came in at 90.4 millimeters. So yeah, 90.4 millimeters was where we came in for July's England and Wales precipitation. And so very, very simply and very straightforwardly, we're going to be looking at autumns following July's with an England and Wales precipitation range of 84 to 96 millimeters. It places July 2021 slap bang in the middle of that range. Right, so begin with the autumn of 1836. This one is very unsettled with below average heights across North and West Europe combined with above average heights around Greenland, and we bring the wind in from a north to northeast direction. A cool and wet autumn then to start us off, maybe cold even, cold and wet autumn to start us off in 1836. Our next autumn is 1840, following July England and Wales precipitation range of 84 to 96 millimeters. This one again looks very cold. It has lots of northern blocking around Greenland with below average heights low pressure over to the east of the country, bringing in winds from the northeast with this one. So that's a very cold looking autumn. And of course, if that happens in November, you do have masses of wintry potential. 1841 is our next year. This one again with lots of high latitude blocking within the normal latitudes around Greenland, back into the Arctic, below average heights over northwest Europe. Again, winds probably coming in from north to northeast direction. That looks like another cold and potentially wintry autumn in 1841. Next up, we have the autumn of 1848. This one also looking cold with northern blocking. So these autumns back in the mid 1800s, they really do have a lot of cold potential with them because they're such a long time ago. But this one, again, very cold and wintry, masses of blocking around Greenland and in the North Atlantic, low pressure across northern and West Europe. Again, you see the wind direction is going to be north and northeast potentially with that one. They've got 1851, so many for this in the 1800s, incredible. This one again, I mean, it's got mid-Atlantic ridge, northern blocking, going back into the Arctic. It's got below average heights to our south and east. And again, incoming winds from the northeast. Perhaps a little bit drier with that one, but again, it looks like it's a cold autumn. Really in 1851 with wintry potential. 1865 is our next autumn. This one is a little bit different. This one has much less in the way of northern blocking. It has below average heights to our west and south and higher pressure to our east. And so with this one, it's drier and it's also a warmer autumn as well, bringing in the winds from more of a southeasterly type direction. So that is a drier and warmer autumn in 1865. Our next autumn is 1873. This one again with a mid-Atlantic ridge in combination with below average heights to our north and east. And again, we bring in the winds from the northeast. So we're back to what looks like quite a cold autumn for 1873. Then we've got 1889 showing up next. This one looks like a drier but still quite cold autumn with quite a bit of high pressure to our north and northeast. And this one will be bringing in the winds from an east or northeasterly direction generally. Maybe warmish to start off with, but of course it's transitional season. So easterlies in September will be relatively warm. But if that occurs in November, it could be quite a lot colder. Then we have the autumn of 1890 with a mid-Atlantic ridge to our west. Low pressure, much more centered around eastern and southeastern Europe with this one. So this is a drier autumn, but again, probably quite a cool autumn. Of course, it does precede an exceptionally cold December. December 1890 is the coldest within the CT record. Next autumn is 1891. This one looks very wet with below average heights over to west of the country. Up come the southwesterly to southerly winds. So that one just looks like a very, very wet and probably quite mild autumn, to be honest. Bit of a gap through to 1908. So our next autumn is anticyclonic and dry with high pressure around Scandinavia. And that brings in like easterly winds. So that's a drier autumn, definitely, in 1908. But probably reasonably mild, but it does precede a cold winter, so I reckon that's a relatively quiet autumn in 1908. But it does precede quite a cold winter for 08-09. Talking of 09, this is the autumn of 1909. This is the next time we have an England Wales precipitation range of 84 to 96 millimetres in July. So this one has, again, above average heights to our west, below average heights, more or less over top of the country. This looks like a very wet autumn and probably quite a cool autumn as well in 1909. Autumn of 1912 is showing up next. This one with above average heights over to west of the country, below average heights to our east. I think that's a drier and milder autumn. Of course, it does follow, I should say, a very, very wet and cold summer. I think it's like a drying out sort of autumn and relatively mild, I think, with that one, and dry. We've got the autumn of 1914. This is quite an anticyclonic and mild autumn again, I think, in 1914. A bit of a gap again through to 1927. So the next time we have a July England Wales precipitation range of 84 to 96 millimetres is in July 1927. The autumn of 1927 is back to sort of blocking in northern latitudes and with below average heights across the northern and west Europe. And again, we bring in wind from a northeasterly direction. So that's a colder, wetter autumn in 1927. Of course, it does precede a very, very cold December and a classic snowy white Christmas in 1927. A long gap then to 1954. Wow, incredible. Next time I have a July England Wales precipitation range of 84 to 96 millimetres is, in fact, in 1954. The autumn of 1954 is just very, very unsettled and wet, really, with winds in from west. It's very similar to the summer of 1954. excuse me, the summer of 1954 is a bit of a deluge summer. The pattern goes on into the autumn as well, no reprieve. So exceptionally wet autumn in 1954. It does precede a cold winter for 54-55. We've got a much drier autumn then in 1958. This one has high pressure around Scandinavia, and winds are in from the east with that one. I think 1958 does have quite a wet September, but otherwise it's a relatively dry and mild autumn. Then we've got 1973, so another pretty long gap. This one is a drier autumn again, with above average heights over just the west of the country, below average heights away to our east and northeast. That's a relatively dry, quiet, and pretty mild autumn as well, I think, in 1973. Autumn 1992 is coming up next. This one is unsettled, with below average heights over to the east of the country. Quite a wet September in 1992, a cold October, and then a mild and but quite wet November, I think, in 1992. 1993 follows a July England-Wales precipitation range of 84 to 96 millimetres. This is our last truly cold autumn from beginning to end. All three autumn months, September, October, November, in 1993 were colder than average. It has a Scandinavian high and winds in from the east. That gives us a particularly cold spell, of course, during November with some early snowfalls, and it has below average heights to our south. There's a cold and wet September, pretty cold October too, but drier, and then we have a wintry November, especially the second half of November 1993, which does have easterly winds and early snowfalls. As I say, it's the last time we have a truly cold from start to finish autumn. Been a long time. Then we go through to 2002. Now, this looks like should be a very cold autumn, doesn't it? Because we have lots of high latitude blocking around Greenland. You look about and think that we're bringing in, you know, a very cold sort of season there. In fact, it's quite a mild season. September 2002 is one of those dry, warm Septembers that we had a lot of in the first decade of the 21st century. October 2002 is much wetter, but close to average with temperature. And then November 2002 is also very wet, but that one is pretty mild as well. So it is a particularly cold winter. It's one of the examples of how analogs can sometimes give you the wrong impression. Not all the time do you get right impression from an analog, and that is one of those occasions when we have an analog that does look as though it should be giving a cold season, and it wasn't a cold season. And then the last time we have a July England and Wales precipitation range of 84 to 96 millimetres is in 2015. The autumn of 2015 has a very, very bizarre looking pattern with just lots of above average heights really across much of the northern hemisphere actually, but also across much of northern and western Europe. So this is a relatively dry autumn, and it has quite a coolish September, but then a very mild but increasingly wet November, setting up what of course is an extraordinarily mild winter for 2015-2016. It does coincide with the super El Nino of 2015-16 as well. Right, so let's start putting all of that together. This is how all Septembers combined are looking, following a July England-Wales precipitation range of 84 to 96 millimetres. September tends to have high pressure dominating, but a little bit to our north means quite an easterly September is anticipated, lower pressure to our south. So you would expect quite a lot of dry weather with these Septembers, and with easy winds probably relatively warm. And the wettest weather actually would be more focused on southern areas probably. All Octobers combined shows a northern blocking signal, so the high pressure that we had just to north of Scotland in September goes north in October and centres within the Arctic with below average heights across northern and western Europe. That looks like a cold and wet pattern potentially for the Octobers, particularly so for more southern parts of the country. And then all Novembers combined seem to have a wintry flavour, to be honest. So we've got, again, above average heights in the north and to our west and northwest, with lots of below average heights to our south and southeast. Again, winds probably coming in from a northeasterly direction. So you would expect a pretty cold November with that, and certainly the risk of some wintry potential. All autumns combined following July, England Wales precipitation range of 84 to 96 millimetres, showing a blocking signal to the north with below average heights, low pressure to the south. So a cold autumn is envisaged. Of course, we had lots and lots of years in the 1800s with this package of analogues. So we've got to get rid of all of those and just look at the years after 1950 and see what difference that makes. So this is how all Septembers combined are looking following a July, England and Wales precipitation range of 84 to 96 millimetres. Post 1950. So with this, the only years that we have, 1954, 1958, 1973, 1992, 1993, 2002 and 2015, a much narrower range. But for September, it actually turns more unsettled. That's probably because we've got 1993 in the mix. But actually, yes, it's a more unsettled signal for September. Still with that area of above average heights to our north, but further north and deeper below average heights, low pressure over to the south and western country. So a rather wet September is now favoured, to be honest, post 1950. October turns drier. So this is how all Octobers combined looks post 1950. So still the same sort of idea of the above average heights in the North Atlantic going up towards Greenland, but much less extensive northern blocking, and the below average heights, low pressure further away from us. So it's a drier signal for those Octobers. Probably still quite a coolness signal though, with winds tending to be more sort of northerly or northeasterly. And then all Novembers combined. Look what happens with the Novembers though. We favour a mild month after 1950. Wow, big difference with below average heights around Greenland and Iceland and above average heights to our south. And of course that favours bringing in like west-southwesterly. So although the overall analogues package favours a cold November with all of the years of the 1800s, if we just include those years after 1950, we come away with a much sort of warmer, or much milder anyway, looking signal. And that, of course, does also include 1993, which did have a pretty cold and wintry November. But overall, after 1950, we definitely favour a milder November there. Big difference. Finally, this is how all autumns combined are looking following a July, England and Wales precipitation range of 84 to 96 millimetres. Post 1950, so we tend to get higher pressure to our north, so there is a northern blocking signal, and also probably favouring sort of easterly northeast winds. Bear in mind there's a lot of intra-month variation, so September is favoured to be a cool wet month after 1950. October is favoured to be a rather dry but probably quite cold month, and then November favoured to be an unsettled but potentially mild or even very mild month. We're done. So that brings us to the end of the 8th Autumn 2021 update. As I say, we're getting very close to the end of the autumn updates. Now you've got another 2 to do and then release the autumn forecast. So yeah, that's it. That's the 8th Autumn 2021 update done and dusted. We'll be back next week with another autumn update. I think we'll possibly be looking at ENSO next week, because that's something that we have not yet done, and we've got to do that. So I think we'll probably look at ENSO next week for the 9th Autumn 2021 update. If you enjoyed this video, please can you like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much, everyone, for doing that. Drop a comment, let us know what you think about this and all of our videos. We'll be back later on, GavsWeatherVids Sunny Roundup, and we're also going to have, of course, a live stream at 6 PM. So I shall see you live then. But for that Sunny Roundup, for the 8th Autumn 2021 update, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.